Hi, First Reconciliation families. Welcome. Whether you are from the Catholic schools and you're just now joining us, whether you are in the home study remote learning program, whether you are in the in-person weekly program at Our Lady Queen of Peace with all the 4 parishes combined, wherever you're coming in from, my name is Miss Abdallah, and I am here with your parent video to guide you through this incredible sacramental program year with a parent video that will outline everything you need to know for this sacramental immediate prep for First Reconciliation, and will foreshadow a little bit of what's going to happen for First Eucharist, although there will be another video for that specific sacrament. I'm just going to show you how they all tie together as we go here. Why I'm doing the video is because I understand really well that many of you are juggling a lot. You have kids all over the place in activities, school, you've got things going on at work. You also probably have more than enough other meetings and things to juggle. And the information I'm going to give you here is going to be really important information. It's going to be information you're going to want to reference later and maybe look back and say, what did she say about this, this, or this? This will save you an email later on where you can just review the video and you'll be good to go. Okay, that saves you time, that saves me trying to hurry up and answer those if you can just have a video that lays it all out for you. Okay, I also know that our prevalence of kids getting sick is getting higher, and then we're going right back into the ebbs and flows of everything from COVID to RSV to throat viruses, and I'm pretty sure the flu and the stomach bug are going to start any time now, because that's where we're at any fall, any winter, and why would this one be any different? So with all that in mind, to give you peace of mind, here's everything you need to know before we start, which is coming up soon. Okay. So First Reconciliation, what does the church say about it? Obviously, you know it's important because you've enrolled your child in this program. These sacraments are considered to be offered when a child is of the age of reason, okay? What that means is that by now, the church is saying that our children at the age of 7 basically know right from wrong, okay? They don't know everything, obviously, but they know if you say don't do that, you don't do that. And they know pretty much an idea of what behaviors are expected that they should be doing, right? So the church says at that time, it's a good time for us to teach when we should be sorry, and when we should say, hey, we didn't do the right thing and we should be sorry. And also, more importantly, where to seek forgiveness from. And I think that's the lost piece of the puzzle that we forget to get to. And the emphasis all too often in the past and in our public social media, movie media, has always been around the burden, the guilt, the terrible dark closet that the priest sits in to confess our sins, making it this very ominous, gray, yucky, activity, without emphasizing the incredible, lifting off of that burden of being able to tell somebody what you're going through, run something by someone who can offer you help, just to be able to hear the words that God loves you, God forgives you, try better next time. We all need to hear that in our everyday lives. I need to hear it, you need to hear it, right? And the world's not out there saying it enough to us. So here we have this beautiful sacrament that offers that richness to us. And we've kind of been warped into thinking that it's a dreaded sacrament. And really what I've been trying to do in my ministry, in my lifetime, is to change the way we approach that. Let's look at it for the help that it is and teach our kids to really value it, to know that there's always someone that wants to help listen to us and guide us to do what's right, and to just simply remind us that God loves us, because the world isn't there to show us that all the time, if ever sometimes. So that's the emphasis for us that we're going to place on this sacrament and why it's valuable and why it's important. And hopefully that's what the kids will walk away with, is to really value the fact that they have a tool in their toolbox of life, if you want to really get into metaphors, that if something in their life is broken, this is a way that they can fix it. So that's my goal, is that all of these lovely children will have that, will know that they can always turn to God in the sacrament of reconciliation, and we'll be able to utilize that. So we will start with that sacrament, of course, and in the Diocese of Rochester, they must receive the sacrament of reconciliation before they can receive First Eucharist. Now, in the wisdom of the church, we say, well, okay, once they've gone to confession, let's hurry up and get them to communion because they're all ready for it, right? So that's why we have always done reconciliation and First Eucharist in the same year. While they're already ready to roll, they've already gone to confession, they're ready to just learn how to go to communion, and then they can go to communion. So obviously, we'll be doing First Reconciliation, the 2 camps in November, and then they'll have their First Reconciliation in December. We're going to talk about that in a moment. And then, of course, we pick back up again in April to do First Eucharist, so that by the end of this year, they'll have both sacraments. School year, they'll have both sacraments, okay? All right. So, all that being said, what is a First Reconciliation Camp? Well, many moons ago, pre-pandemic, we were trying to figure out ways to make coming to classes easier. Obviously, students that are in Catholic schools, your students are in school every day, so faith formation is a part of their academic curriculum anyway. And then they were going to be going to, they used to go to this weekly class with us on top of that for First Reconciliation and First Eucharist. And then families that were already in weekly faith formation, who were not in Catholic school, then all of a sudden had another class. So they would have public school classes, then they had to do 2 faith formation classes a week. And that just got too much for everybody. And I said, why don't we develop a little bit of an easier program, a couple of hours, 2 weekends, and then we'll be ready to do it. And I hopefully, have come up now, I think, with a really simple, straightforward, easy to tolerate program that people seem to enjoy, the kids seem to enjoy, and it's been so successful that this is now going into our 2nd official year of in-person, and then a 3rd year prior to that we did some things to try to make it happen remotely. So all that is to say, I think we've figured it out, and we're always up for tweaking, but we're going to continue it again this year, and hopefully you will enjoy the flow of it as much as we do, because it does value your time as well. So all right, so our First Reconciliation Camp number 1 happens Saturday, November 5th. So it's coming up soon. That's why you're getting this video now, so it's fresh in your mind. So the Saturday, November 5th, we will meet at Our Lady Queen of Peace at 9 a.m. Okay, now I know that's a little bit on the early side for a Saturday. Please make sure that the students have had breakfast before they come if you can, okay, because we won't have lunch till noon, and we don't have snacks there in the beginning, okay? So if you can really try to make sure and remember to do breakfast, that's helpful, all right? And then, we'll have water and juice and stuff like that on hand, but it's just more that if they haven't had an entire breakfast, they're going to be really hungry by the time we get to lunch. So just keep that in mind, okay? And we know accidents happen and sometimes people forget, but just really do your best to make sure that the kids get something to eat that morning before they come. So at 9 a.m., we're going to meet in the church. We'll say a little prayer, and then we're going to break off into classrooms, okay? So at 9:15, they're going to break off into their classroom, and they're going to cover their first session with their teachers in a classroom setting, okay? And then session 2, so from 9:15 to 10:15, right? The first hour, they're going to be in a classroom setting. Then they'll come back to me for the second session, and we're going to do an interactive activity, something that'll get some of the energy out, get them going, get them moving, help them to just kind of get the wigglies out and bathroom breaks and, a drink and all of that good stuff. Then, after they're done with my interactive activity that explains the second chapter, we're going to talk about what reconciliation means. So all of the activities have everything to do with what they're learning, okay? Then at 11 o'clock, they'll go back for their third session into classroom learning. And then at 11:45, they'll come back out to the middle of the gathering space. We'll say a prayer, and I will have a pizza lunch ready for them. So they'll have lunch, they'll have something to drink, and some chips for lunch, okay? So that way, parents, if you're running around ragged trying to take other kids to sporting events or activities that are going on a Saturday morning, you know that at least your child that is at First Reconciliation Camp has their class and lunch is all set for them, and then you can go get whoever else and bring them back. If you have siblings that also want to join us for lunch, if you could just send me an email and let me know so that I have an idea, ballpark, how much pizza to buy, that's fine. I have no problem doing that if that helps you out. Okay, so pizza lunch will go from 11:45 to 12-ish. Obviously we're not going to lock the doors at 12, so if lunch runs over, that's fine. Just to let you know that that's when pickup is, after you grab lunch, you can go from there. Okay. So that's it. That's what the camp looks like. It's 3 hours. It's not bad. And because, like I said, we're breaking it up. So the kids are doing a little bit of learning, a little bit of moving, a little bit of learning, a little bit of moving, eating. There's enough there that it keeps it interesting for them. It's not just sitting there staring at a board for 3 hours. Okay. So then the following week, November 12th. Okay, so the difference this year is we have them back to back. Last year I separated them by a week or two, but the way we got the later start with our faith formation year and the way the breaks fell, we just had to do them next to each other. So we're doing this on November 12th, the second camp. Okay, so again, 9 a.m. we meet for prayer. Session 1, same thing, break out into classrooms. Session 2, they'll meet with me. We're going to work on a craft. They're going to start a craft, and then one by one, they're going to practice with me. They're going to do a practice rehearsal of what it's like to go to confession. Now, they're not going to tell me their real sins. Obviously, we're going to talk about all of that. I'm even going to give them a fake sin that they can tell me in the confessional. It's just for them to know how to do it. And also, parents, they're going to get a card that they'll even take with them for their first confession. They're not going to have to memorize anything. Okay, they'll have it in hand and they can read it right as is for their first confession. Okay, the thing that we want to emphasize to the students, and I will definitely do this when I work with them, they do not have to memorize anything, and the priests, all of them, understand that it's their first time and will literally talk them through everything. They never have to worry about doing it the right way. There's nobody that's going to yell at them. They just read the card and that's it. Okay, they obviously will have to reflect about the things they want to confess. And we know, as parents, too, obviously they're 7. There's not major moral sins going on right now. But this is really all about form and teaching them how to do it. Okay, as I'm working with them in confirmation in the older years, then we're going to get into more of the heavier stuff, obviously, but this is really to teach them the how to do it. This is where the emphasis is. And we will talk about right and wrong and examination of conscience, absolutely. But what we're really looking for with these camps is that they learn just how to do it so that they know what to expect when they go in there, that nobody's yelling at them and nobody's going to tell them that they're doing it wrong. Okay? So rehearsal's already going to be done when they're there with me. The third session, they'll break out again to go to do classroom learning, or we may watch a video. We're not quite certain. We'll see how the flow of the day goes, but either way, we're going to talk about that. The catechist and I, we're going to see how that goes. And then again, 11:45, we're going to have prayer and pizza lunch, same thing. And also the same thing, if you need to go grab other siblings from practices or gymnastics or horseback riding, whatever you got going on, and they want to eat lunch too, please just send me an email. Let me know how many kids and I'll add them to the roster and they can eat pizza too. Okay, so we're okay with that, as long as I just want to have an idea how much to order, that's all. Okay, so that's it, Camp 1 and Camp 2. So they're going to get all their lessons and the rehearsal all in the 2 camps. Okay, so then it's all done. No more, no other thing to do except to come to First Reconciliation itself. Which is on December 3rd. So obviously we've got a couple of weeks because we've got Thanksgiving break. So they're going to have a little bit of time in between. Now, if you feel that they're going to forget how to do that, there will be a rehearsal video that I will put on the newsletter. Okay, so you're going to have access to that video that you can, and you yourselves, parents, you can definitely practice with them and rehearse. Okay, but like I said, even if they walk into the confession on that day and totally forget what they are doing, the priest will walk them through it. Okay, they'll say, this is what you do now, and this is what you do now. They're going to be very good about it. They're just so thrilled these kids are learning how to do it. Okay, so really it really should not be stressful or anxiety inducing. I know it naturally still does cause this, but just for you to know that you can please emphasize that, because that's what we are holding to. Okay, all right, so day of First Reconciliation, Saturday, December 3rd. Okay, there's 2 places that you can choose from. You are going to choose either or. All right, you can either choose to have your First Reconciliation at St. Thomas More at 9 o'clock or Our Lady of Lourdes at 11. And I'm going to have a sign up at the camps for you to tell me where you plan to be. And the reason I'll need to know where you plan to be is because that's where your child's certificate, they get a certificate that says they completed the sacrament. Those will be prepared and ready to be at the church where they make their sacrament. Okay. So I will get all that information from you at the camps so that we know where they're going to be. Okay. All right. So when you arrive for First Reconciliation, what's going to happen, regardless, whichever place you choose, all right, if you choose the 9 o'clock or the 11, will come in. It'll be like a little service at first. So we'll have a hymn. We'll have the liturgy of the word, so we'll have some readings, okay? I'm not sure if we're going to have kids do readings or not. I'll have to feel out it always depends on what students we get. If we get some really extroverted ones that are like, I can read that, I don't mind. I usually get that by first Eucharist time. First Reconciliation, they're still getting to know me, but if I get any that really want to read, then we'll see about getting them to read, okay? If not, that's okay. We'll play it by ear. So we'll do the liturgy of the word. There'll be readings. And then what we do is, after Father does a little reflection, I'll stand up and I do what's called an examination of conscience. So I'll read through the 10 Commandments, just like the kids are going to be doing at the camps and in our sessions together, and learn how to identify like some of the things they might want to confess when they're going to confession. So I will guide them through all of those and say, just here are some things to think about. And then at that time, I'll invite people. I'll say at whatever parish, because I'll be at both of them, all right? I'll say, okay, Father so-and-so is here, Father so-and-so is there. The line starts here, the line there. So then you would just get in line wherever they want to go to confession, okay? Parents, it is really strongly recommended that you go too. It sets a great example for the kids. It helps them to feel like if you're going, then that's good for them to see. I know that people have their reservations about it. But if you really can try to do that, to set an example for the kids, it's a really good idea. Obviously, I'm not the morality police, but I am putting it out there because your example will speak much louder than all the camps in the world that I could hold. So I'm just going to drop that out there, just to say that because I've seen it. When kids watch you go to confession, it's a really powerful thing. So if you have it in you, and I do understand there's personal reasons for people not doing that. I'm not oblivious to those reasons too, but just something to think about if that does not pertain to you. If you're okay with thinking about that anyway. So then after that, after you go, everybody goes to confession. Generally we dismiss after that. Okay, and I guide you through all of that from the pulpit. I will tell you directing traffic and tell you what to do so you won't be left hanging. And then on your way out of the parishes, wherever you are, you'll be picking up your certificate in the narthex or the entryway, whichever, we'll guide you to that. Okay. All right, that's it. If you have any questions about what's covered in this video, please send me an email and let me know. I will do another video when it's time for First Eucharist. First Eucharist camps are run very similarly, so this will give you a really good idea of what to expect in April. And the same thing, rehearsal will be included in the April camps too, to eliminate the coming back again for a third time for rehearsals. I try to incorporate it all while they're there, trying to make the best of every minute that we have the students there, to value their time, your time, and everybody running back and forth. So hopefully that will work. The difference between First Reconciliation and First Eucharist is that First Eucharist we're going to have First Eucharist at every individual, every parish will have First Eucharist Mass. Reconciliation, which I had explained in one of the videos previous in the newsletter, but if you didn't catch that video, the reason First Reconciliation is done at St. Thomas More and Our Lady of Lourdes is because I schedule multiple priests to come to that to help me out, and we have very few priests to pull from. So I really have to make it like a one-stop shop for 2 or 3 priests to come. If I had an abundance of priests, I could probably get away with scheduling them at a couple different places, but as it is, I just do it at 2 places. If you really, really insist on doing it at your home parish, let's say you're at Queen of Peace or at St. Anne's and you just always dreamed, your child is like, nope, I have to have it there. I have to go to confession at that parish. Let me know. And, if we have to schedule something privately with you and one of the pastors, we will figure that out. Usually people don't have a burning desire to do confession at one place or the other, but I never say never. So if that pertains to you, let me know that too. But that's why we do it. That has absolutely nothing to do with anything except trying to preserve our priests and how much they have to do with how few of them we have to be able to schedule on a Saturday. So, all right. But First Eucharist, they're already there doing Mass. So we'll be able to have First Eucharist Mass wherever they're at. So we're gonna catch them there. So, okay. All right, my friends, thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions, email me. Hopefully this is helpful to you. If you have anything that I didn't cover that you think should have been covered, let me know. But otherwise, I will see you all on November 5th, bright and early, 9 a.m. Take care and God bless.